Alright guys, today we're going to talk about the Bionic Avengers and how they're more than just a raid team. Now they are a phenomenal raid team and they're only going to get better with the addition of Hulkbuster, but in other modes like War and Crucible, I think Hulkbuster might actually sit on the bench. So we're going to dive into this. I'll show you a bunch of teams they crush in War, some changes we'll make for Crucible, and finally punch-up recommendations on each of these teams. So let's go ahead and jump into it. And of course, before we get too far, we got to go ahead and talk about T4s and Iso8. So you'll see here, this is for War. I do recommend using Captain Sam Falcon in place of Hulkbuster here. You really need that speed for these matchups to work. And the Secret Avengers can be broken apart and put onto various different teams to get much better success than just the Secret Avengers team alone. So for Captain Sam, we want the Special, the Ultimate, and I love him as a Skirmisher. Deathlock, Special, Ultimate, love him as a Raider. Viv Vision, Ultimate, Passive. I like her as a striker. I can see argument for Raider, so you can take your pick there, and either one is going to be great for this. Iron Man, Special, Passive. Again, huge Raider fan. And Vision, just the Ultimate. Love him as a Raider as well. And let's start this one off with a 310k punch-up against the Web Warriors. So this matchup will go by in the blink of an eye. Captain Sam Falcon or Deathlock will go right after Miles, and after that the Web Warriors will rarely get another turn unless they get a dodge from the Captain Sam. And even then, you're still perfectly fine. So everything that the Bionic Avengers do cannot be dodged because there's 3 or more of their members. So make sure when taking this matchup, you do have 3 or more Bionic Avengers. That is basically to say you can only sub out one of them, being Hulkbuster. Now, this was a 310k punch-up. This is obviously very convincing, a very, very convincing win. In Live War, I would suggest only doing maybe 150 to 250k if you absolutely need to do a punch-up. Next, let's go ahead and do a 280k punch-up against the Astonishing X-Men. Now, this is great because if you don't want to build your Shadowlands up, or you haven't already, and you need a counter to the Astonishing X-Men who are going to get bigger with the introduction of the raid, then your Bionic Avengers can fit that role. And I see here I did get the Taunt Bug. Taunt Bug or not, it doesn't change how this fight goes because we're using the AoE from Captain Sam or Deathlock regardless. Now this one gets messy just because the way I played it, which was pretty wrong. But it's the same thing as the Web Warriors. Once we get to do all our abilities, we simply just go nuts. Now we have the blind from Viv Vision. You got to make sure that you remember it only affects the row that she's attacking, which is why I didn't use it on the Iceman. I really wanted this Jubilee to get blinded so she couldn't ult, and then Iron Man comes in and finishes everything off. And I believe at the time that was actually a 3 red, 3 yellow Viv, or maybe a 4. Either way, this matchup will only get more secure the bigger your Bionic Avengers get. And just like the Web Warriors, I would suggest no more than 150 to 250k if you absolutely have to. Next, let's look at a 240k punch-up against Marauders. Now, this is Marauders without Emma. This will not work if there is an Emma. So make sure you make that distinction, though most people have Emma on offense. And this works the exact same way all these other fights have worked. It really doesn't go past the first turn unless something goes horrendously wrong. And if Vision or Iron Man gets stunned along the way, Viv Vision will actually cleanse them before their turn. So it's pretty great. One thing I'll also note is if Madeline is in the back row, you got to make sure your Iron Man will kill her. So you get the bleeds from Deathlock, the ultimate from Vision, and then the special from Iron Man. Now that has to be able to kill the Madeline before she takes a turn if she's in that back row. If she's not in that back row, and Viv Vision's blind will hit her, this matchup is absolutely free. Now, again, I'd suggest not going any higher than, let's say, 100k or 150k if you absolutely have to push it against that team. And with Emma, do not take. Next, let's look at a 180k punch-up against the Fantastic Four. Now, this is a new Fantastic Four I'm sure a lot of you have seen, with Hulk instead of Johnny Storm. And the idea here is the new Gamma characters feed the She-Hulk and feed the Hulk, and they go do crazy amounts of damage. But just like every other match we've seen so far, the Bionic Avengers just absolutely one-shot everything. And if I didn't push the Hulk there, because my team was a little bit smaller, I could have got the blind on him, or the ability block with vision if I absolutely felt it was necessary from doing a bigger punch-up. So there's different ways you can test this matchup if you want to try it in practice match. But if you just hit auto, or rather not auto, because you want to make sure you're using the right abilities, you'll get through this very easily. And then Iron Man actually gets to use his special again. This team is insane when it comes to ability energy. For that matchup, guys, I wouldn't suggest doing more than... I think 100k is safe there because the Hulks can catch you off guard if you're not careful, especially if you have a weaker character. Next, we're going to do a 280k punch-up against the Uncanny X-Men. Yeah, if we're going to be using a different counter for Web Warriors, maybe people are going to throw their Uncanny on defense, and we got to have a way to handle that. Well, if you're offensive-minded, you keep your Uncanny on offense, and you can use your Bionic Avengers to finish off enemy Uncanny teams. Now, what you want to do here is you want to hit the enemy in the back row, unless it's Phoenix and Colossus in the back row. Then just keep hitting the front row, kill those 3 members, and just erase everything. So Vision, with that offense up and his crazy focus, is very likely to peel off all those defense ups, and that just leads our Bionic Avengers to absolutely crush this. So there goes Phoenix, Magic, and Storm. We're basically out of danger at this point, and now we just got to worry about Cyclops. But of course, even my 4 red, 4 yellow Deathlock did so much damage on those bleeds that Cyclops is actually not going to get another turn. And because Phoenix is most normally beside the Colossus, you do get to use your ability block from Vision, and then Phoenix is going to do absolutely nothing to you, and you just run away with this one. And all the energy, you just keep getting to use all your abilities at will. It's so much fun, this team. And again, guys, for that one, I wouldn't suggest going over, let's say, 150k normally, or up to 200 and let's say 25k if you absolutely have to push it because you're up against a monstrous alliance. Because you got to remember, guys, these are war practice fights you just watched, not live server. It is way, way different on live. And guys, for Outside of War, I strongly recommend using Shang-Chi, particularly for Cosmic Crucible. He has the same speed as Captain Sam, he does more damage, he's homeless, and his ultimate can't be dodged. So if you're coming up against those big 1 million powered Web Warriors from people using them in the raids, Shang-Chi is definitely your best answer for that. Again, you're going to eat a Miles ultimate, and after that, they will not get a turn. Now, for his T4s and Iso8, honestly, you really just need the special and ultimate. However, that passive can stop you from taking too much damage and keep your efficiency higher. And of course, you're going to want him as a raider. Alright guys, well I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.